Welcome. Thanks for being here. I am so relieved to see a certain person who is calling in from the Kingdom of Hawaii. You've been on my mind. And as we're entering in, if you're new, please feel free to introduce yourself in the chat. My name is Carole. I'm not Lama Rod. I'm a community member, just like you, here to hold some space, do some practice, and possibly emit some words of wisdom. I'm really happy to be here with you all. Really happy to connect with Eric too. Haven't seen him in a little while. And as you can see, Eric has posted a link to the prayer requests. So if you have people, places, things on your mind, please feel free to drop those in as we're going through this time together. And as you're arriving, the one thing I'd like to ask is that you do something to arrive, to leave that whatever you are doing behind. You can shake it off. You can, scream and holler because you've got your mute on. But whatever it does, whatever is needed right now to just leave that behind. We're going to work on that on different levels, but I just want to encourage you to make a little break. I know we're coming into this space from all different places, geographically and energetically. There's a lot going on in the world, but we're here to be together. Welcome. And again, my name is Carole. I'm calling in from the lands of the Coast Salish people, also known as Seattle. I'm here to hang out with you for the next hour or so. It's really nice to see everyone. Hi. Hello. We'll give it a couple more minutes and then we will get started. But again, please feel free to introduce yourselves in the chat and go ahead and put prayer requests in. Hi, everyone. Special hello to Courtney. Welcome. If you're just joining us for the first time, please introduce yourself in the chat. We'd love to welcome you. And again, I'm not Lama Rod, but I'm here as a community member to hold the space, do some practice together. So it looks like most people have arrived now. And again, I'd just like to encourage you to let go of whatever you were doing just before you logged into the little squares. If you want to jump around and shake it off, shake your hands off, stretch, move around a little. Let's put that behind us, or at least push pause for now, because we're going to do some practices and we're going to focus on our hearts. Or is somebody having some technical issues? If you're having technical issues, I think Eric might be able to assist you. I see a message that someone cannot hear.
Are others able to hear? All right, that's always helpful. Thank you.
Okay. Is the person that was having the sound issues able to hear? I guess they probably wouldn't be able to hear me. So, welcome to those who are joining for the first time. Okay, hello. So my name is Carole. We've got a few announcements from our charming tech host dropping into the chat. I think there's some announcements for activities coming up to practice with Lama Rod. And also, please feel free to check out that prayer request document and submit anything that's on your mind that you'd like some support around. Thank you all for joining. It's so nice to see everyone. It's really nice to be in this community. There is obviously a lot going on, and it is the apocalypse that Lama Rod has mentioned, but we're going to push pause, and we are going to spend some time attending to our hearts. We're going to do the Medicine Buddha practice today. I'm going to give a short talk to kick us off. Then we'll do the practices. We'll do the introduction, the main practice, and then we will wrap it up with prayer requests and the Shanti Deva prayer. I want to just thank Sharon and Karen, who I'm not sure if they're here or not, but they've been generously loaning out their strong shoulders for people like me to stand on, because they paved the way for the community folks to step up to this role. I also want to thank Eric, of course, for being the most amazing support friend, person. My talk today is a bit inspired by a community member named Renee. I just want to say a few words about today. This practice, Medicine Buddha, is very much around addressing suffering. There's obviously a lot of suffering going on in the world. It seems like yesterday there was just multiple weather. It was almost unbelievable. I couldn't even look out my window because there was smoke from various wildfires. We don't really need to go through the list, but obviously we are in the thick of the apocalypse. And that's why we're doing these practices. We know that all these situations are collectively created by people, right? But they're also something we can collectively work toward addressing. We do these practices so that all living beings, people, animals, trees, etc., can realize liberation, that we may have the lived experience of liberation. And that is very much the prescribed goal of what we're doing here. I'm kind of seeing some stuff about sound, so I'm just hoping that people have had their issues addressed. Okay, getting the thumbs up from the lovely tech host. So thank you for choosing love. Thank you for choosing to attend to your hearts for this hour. Thank you for daring to take care of yourselves in this time, for stepping away from distractions, and for tending to our hearts, because we are one. So everything that we do for ourselves is reflected in what we see around us. I wanted to mention Renee today because when I started to prepare for this talk, I realized that we're in a very auspicious time. Many people in the quote unquote East recognize this as a time when the veils between the planes are thin. Some cultures are actually celebrating or recognizing the people on the other side, ancestors or those who have passed, and acknowledging that those people may have crossed with suffering and that their experiences are filled with suffering. So there are different ceremonies or festivities that are done in recognition of that. You may have heard of the Bonadori Festival that Japanese Americans celebrate in many big cities. They do a dance, and that's actually to celebrate that there has been a successful dealing with of the suffering. So in I believe in Japanese, but in Chinese culture also, we offer prayers and sometimes foods, other offerings to try to appease or alleviate the suffering of those that are on the other side. And the Bonadori dance is to kind of celebrate that that has been done. This time of year is physically marked. It's the 7th month of the lunar calendar. And I believe this year it corresponds with the end of August, but often it can be the middle of August. For me, personally, it also has resonance because my father passed away August 17th, 10 years ago. And it was the first time that I was in the city where he passed in 10 years. I have spent the last 10 years as a guest of the Kingdom of Hawaii. So a lot of what I'm going to share with you tonight is in recognition of these various experiences. I don't know how the words are going to come out because a lot of this is sort of I'm being guided. So appreciate your patience. But I do want to share with you some of my experiences in Hawaii. They feel very pertinent at this time, given what's happened in Maui. I lived in the Big Island for 5 years, and then I lived in Oahu for 5 years. I lived in the Big Island when Kilauea blew. I lived there when we had the fake missile crisis. And then I also lived in Oahu during the pandemic. So those are some kind of, I guess, markers or, events that occurred that allowed me to see what kind of place I was living in and the potential for healing. These were times when I saw community come together and I saw people leading from their hearts. And that was really something I had never experienced before. When I lived in Oahu, I had the opportunity to go work in a lo'i, which is a taro field. There is a movement across the state and across many places in the world to bring back the ancient practices. And in this segment of Hawaii, of Oahu, they were bringing back farming practices. So the area that I worked in was a taro field, and they actually had adopted some of the farming techniques from China. They flooded the fields just like rice fields in China to plant the seeds and then for the seeds to propagate. And the actual role that I took when I went to visit the lo'i, I participated in a section that's called muddying. And what we were doing, the plants had already been rooted, but we went through and cleared out the weeds. We were standing about thigh high in water and mud, and bent over in the sun. And I guess I wanted to bring this up in part because my father was raised in rural China in an area called Chengdu. And he was kind of a naughty boy. His father was a scholar, very serious, wrote calligraphy and wore one of those long robes and had a lot of wisdom. But my father was kind of a goofball. So I heard a lot of stories of him getting in trouble because he would play in the rice fields and get his nice shoes dirty, or, he kind of was into slingshots. So I think he might have maybe hurt some animals. And we heard stories about him catching crayfish and things like that. So there was a point when I was in this field where I just felt like I was having some sort of deja vu or something, because we're bent over in these fields. And I was sort of thinking about these stories of my dad. When I was in this field, we were greeted by people who were sort of introducing us and giving us history and cultural context. We did a circle, we did a prayer where we brought in our ancestors, which is pretty typical of many activities that one would participate in Hawaii. We never do things alone. We're always cognizant of those who've gone before us and those who we bring with us whenever we participate in pretty much anything that's meaningful there. So, perhaps my father's ghost had been awakened in me. But as we were kind of leaned over, thigh high in mud, I was working alongside it was kind of a mixed crowd. There were people from the mainland, but I was also with different Native Hawaiians, some who had worked the land before, but others who had been raised on the mainland and were returning back to learn some of these practices. We were, just talking. They were teaching me, different people were teaching me about different aspects of farming and maybe what the land had been like when they'd grown up there. And then, as we talked, I shared a little bit about me, and as we talked, it became pretty interesting that we were kind of filling in stories for each other. Many of them had Chinese relatives, so they had pieces of stories they had heard, like how Chinese people might eat eels, and I heard, I had a lot of questions because I'd never worked in LOE before. And it was just such an incredible bonding moment to fill in each other's stories and to know that we kind of had incomplete histories about our own lineages, and it was just coming together by leaning over in this mud and talking story. And it really left a big imprint on me. I'm sure working that much enmeshed in the mud, in the land, really also, there was some sort of energetic transmission. And interestingly, also the word Jia and Ohana they have multiple meanings. In Chinese, Jia is family and home. And then in Hawaiian, Ohana means family and home. And so I think that, it's something beyond something I had experienced in my growing up years in Seattle. And I just felt that this was something I wanted to share with you. Another experience that I had in Honolulu happened during the pandemic. I decided to volunteer for Meals on Wheels. At the beginning of the pandemic, it was kind of hard to know what to do. And in Honolulu, I also just saw that instead of people like shutting down and closing themselves off away from people, there was such an outpouring of the sense of community. There were food drives almost right away. So I decided to do this meal delivery to different homes. And I was assigned a route where I had about 6 seniors that I ended up doing this for about 1.5 years or 2 years. I'd go to their homes and deliver this gigantic cooler of pre-made frozen meals. And because the weather was nice, I would just stand outside and talk with my clients. They were all seniors, and it was really again a very, very moving experience. Of the seniors, 3 of them were the same age as my mother, who lives in Seattle. So they made this nickname that they were Route 88. And of course, during the beginning of the pandemic, seniors were very, very afraid of what was happening with COVID. They didn't, we didn't know we just knew that it was going to be a lot more scary and, risky for seniors to catch it. So I knew this. I also knew the propensity for them to experience loneliness, both because of the fear of catching the COVID, but also unlike us, who were all figuring out Zoom and, virtual happy hours and whatnot, they did not have that kind of proficiency or equipment. So I think, quite honestly, that my visits became a lot more than the meals, because I heard the food wasn't really so good. But I got so much out of it. One person on my route had lived through the Japanese internment camps, and I think that that during this time, because we got to know each other so well, and it went on for so long, that we just became each other's family or friends or something. And one woman had lived through the Japanese internment camps and had not really shared that story with other people. But, I think we all kind of faced the possibility of the end. So, I heard a lot of stories. A 102-year-old Chinese man wrote my Chinese name for me one time. And then there was one man that couldn't speak English, but he spoke Mandarin, the same language that I spoke. So that was, pretty incredible. But there was one man that became very special to me. He was taking care of his wife, who was bedridden at the time. And we would meet and talk and hang out. And then as things went on, I got to know, of course, a lot about these people's lives. He'd grown up in Honolulu, and he'd worked for Pan Am. He told me about his career there. And then at one point, he was very, very devoted to his wife, Birdie, but I never met her. I knew that she was very ill. And there was one point where I just finally asked him, how did you and Birdie meet? And he just told me the best story. They lived like a couple streets away from each other, and he'd kind of watched her. I mean, he was 88 in 2021 or something. So, you do the math, but, they lived like a block or two away from each other. And he said he knew her last name, but he didn't know how to get in touch with her. So in those days, for those of you young people, we used to have phone books. And so he got the phone book out. He looked up her last name and approximate location, called, I think he said 12 different families. And finally, the last one, he located her. And he introduced himself, and she said, I know who you are. I've seen you around. And then he took her on a date. He was in the military at the time, so he took her to the movies, which he said was a very economical but acceptable date. And just hearing him open up about this story that he probably hadn't told in a long time, those are things that I will always carry with me. And I think, that experience was very mutual, as much as they may have been getting food or a visit or something, I collected these stories and these moments of being touched and understanding what it means to be in community. I think that I'm very much, these stories are very much on my mind because of what's gone on in Maui. We've watched the US government, the state government, flail, not serve the people in real ways. And we've watched also how the Native Hawaiians have taken things into their own hands. And, I've seen kind of news reports, I've heard from friends, I'm not there, but I know from my experiences that the heart is what leads the way. And this is something Lama Rod talks about, that are the solutions, the inspirations, the answers, they come from the native, they come from the land. And I just felt like what I experienced is something that, I don't know, maybe something that opens your eyes or you can relate to, but it's present. And it's really, really precious. And I know that there's a lot of trauma going on in Maui. There's a lot of trauma in a lot of parts of the world. And so that's why I just am so committed to these practices, because they are the only thing that can help us keep our hearts open. It's tempting to get on the news cycle, to watch TikTok or whatever, and just become narrow, just to get our focus so closed down, and, even have our bodies, our posture just become so focused on the doom and gloom. But, all the solutions lie within us. And so it's important that we take these times to just, be with each other and be brave with each other, because this is not what's happening in the world. It's not what we're encouraged to do. But I just I'm looking at each of you, whether you have your cameras on or not. And I'm just so grateful that I have this privilege to be in this group of people that care, that want to keep opening, and that, we recognize the suffering. We probably all are suffering in our own ways, but we know that the only way to, heal, to liberate all of us, even the bad guys. The only way is to keep opening. So yeah, that's my little bit here. I did want to quote a couple of officials in Hawaii. One was something I heard from the lieutenant governor, who echoed very much what Lama Rod teaches us. She said we need to turn to the native people to lead, to really witness their courage, and because they know how to find the resources, and we're seeing that a lot. Not just in Hawaii, but I think, everywhere. I mean, I think that that's an opening right now. And from the state senator, former state senator Carole H, he asked people, please give people the time to grieve. And I think that, putting emotions and putting people's care first is just something we're not really used to hearing. We know that there's people going in there and trying to get the land, or, steal the donations or whatever. But, when it comes down to it, it's the hearts that have to heal. And we have to, whoever understands that, that's our charge, So I just want to pause. And I don't want to embarrass this person, but there is someone that's really been on my mind in the circle that I saw earlier. Their name starts with a C. I'm just so relieved to see them here. I was very worried about their well-being. They're the only person that I know somewhat that lives there. And I just have to kind of have an exhale for that. So again, let's have a break here so I can pull myself together. Again, I think that, if there's something that you need to do to like enter this space, leave the news channels, your phone, whatever behind, whether it's shake, I don't know, shaking is the big thing for me lately, ground. We'll enter a short meditation and we'll do the chants in just a sec. I just kind of want to give some space right now. It's great to see everyone. If you want to enter any prayer requests into the doc, it's, I think, in the chat. Also, I listened to Karen's beautiful talk from last week, and she had an instruction that when we do the chant, that medicine Buddha is in those sounds. It's in the formulation of those sounds. It's in our bodies. And that's all the healing, that's all both recognizing the suffering, because we're brave and we want to know that. I mean, we're okay knowing that they're suffering. Unlike many mainstream entities who are trying to kind of curate, what we see and what we absorb, but we know people are hurting right now. So I think Karen's instruction of embodying medicine Buddha as we chant is something we can do. I mean, that's something that we're charged with. So, and I did want to also suggest a mudra that was shared with me from some people that I was practicing with yesterday who live in Hawaii. And that's to put your thumb in and then loosely wrap your fingers around the thumb. And sometimes if you feel that you're not grounded, it's something that you can do, whether you're in a circle or just sitting in traffic or whatever. It's just something you can do to help yourself, remind yourself you have the tools inside of you, and that it's really important to honor taking just a second, whether it's, doing this or running through some chants or something. But I learned that yesterday and I just want to share that. So at this time, I'm going to ask that we prepare for a short meditation, and then we will do the chants for just a little while. I'll ask that you get yourself comfortable, seated, lying down, cameras on, cameras off. But somewhere where you have awareness that the ground is holding you. you're comfortable, you can either keep your eyes open or allow your eyelids to relax. And we're going to do a meditation that's focused on breath. So if somehow that is not soothing or comfortable for you, I'll ask that you just please sit quietly, and you can join us when we get to the chant. So you find the ground underneath you, whether it's your sits bones or if you're lying down, then whatever's touching the ground. Just bring some awareness to what's touching the ground and releasing, giving your weight. Letting go of whatever you've been carrying today. Letting go of whatever you've been carrying for maybe 2 days. Because right now it doesn't matter. If you're seated, feel your feet on the ground, all 4 corners. And if you'd like, you can rock a little bit, rock your feet a little bit, rock your sits bones a little bit so that you can find the center. And as you find your center, be aware of the way in which your spine is lining up. There's no need to jut anything out or feel any tension. Just let it naturally align above your sits bones. And if you like, you can take a few shoulder rolls forwards and backwards. And again, just letting whatever tension might be in there go. It's okay, you don't have to worry about anything right now. Bring your shoulders forward a couple of times. And if there's any tension in your neck or your jaw, just lightly move your head. And even if you're lying down, you might want to try swaying a little bit. Just continuing to release the tension, especially in your face, in your jaw, your cheeks. And lastly, for everyone, let your brain relax. Let that go. And for a few moments, we're just going to observe the breath. So as you inhale, trace the air coming in through your nose or mouth, down your throat, into your lungs. And notice how your lungs, your ribs are expanding. Go slowly, go at a pace that feels relaxing to you. And as you exhale, just let go. You can trace the air coming out of your nose or mouth. Let's do this a few more times, inhaling, watching that air enter your mouth or your nose, down your throat, filling up your lungs, your ribs. Maybe hold it just for a second and then slowly let it go. Let's do this a few more times. Inhaling deep into your lungs, filling your chest with fresh air, and then exhaling out of your nose and mouth. Let's do a couple more on your own. Inhaling, exhaling. And I ask that you try something as you inhale your next time. Inhale and try to bring that oxygen to the point right behind your forehead, right behind your what we consider the third eye. And exhaling out. Inhale to that spot again. And exhale. Inhale to that part. It's kind of the middle part of your brain. Maybe you see a light in there. And exhale. Inhale. Perhaps there's a very tiny flicker of a light inside there. And you exhale again. Inhale into that light. That's a light that's inside you, that's shining. As you exhale it, feel that light inhabit all of your body as it makes its way out. Inhaling again, a few more times, and tap into that inner light that you have. I can see it, that you shine. Exhale. Keep inhaling and exhaling and see that beautiful light. It's cascading all inside of your body, filling up every crevice. Because you are light. And exhaling. Inhaling. And exhaling. Inhaling and touching the power of that light. It's filling your whole body. It's giving you hope. And exhaling. A couple more times. That's a light that's inside of you, that's inside of each of us. We'll slowly bring ourselves back. Please continue your breathing, tracing that air going in through your nose or mouth, filling up your lungs, exhaling out. Inhaling in and exhaling out. Take a couple more breaths and then we will begin our chanting. So as you're ready to come back, let's focus on the mantra, which Eric is going to drop into the chat. We'll start with the invitation. Medicine Buddha, I pray that you know and look upon me now. Perhaps you might say those words to yourself as we begin and as we set our own intentions for this time together. And invoking Karen, each of these words, each of these tones are medicine Buddha. We'll start with an Om, and then we'll repeat the mantra a few times, maybe 5 times. So, breath in. Om Mana Sangye Ki No Soha. 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 We're going to move into the main mantra. And again, be Medicine Buddha. Medicine Buddha is here to address the suffering of the world. We're doing this practice together. Like this, I pray for the end of pain and suffering and the root of pain and suffering. And I release the energy of this prayer out to all the worlds so that we all may be liberated. I'll begin. We'll just do a few rounds of this. Start with an Om. Om. Teata Om Bekatse, Bekatse, Ma Bekatse, Razasumakate Soha. Teata Om Bekatse, Bekatse, Ma Bekatse, Razasumakate Soha. Teata Bekatse, Bekatse, Ma Bekatse, Razasumagate Soha. Teata Bek Bekatse, Bekatse, Ma Bekatse, Razasumagate Soha. Teata 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 Bekatse, Bekatse, ma be getse, raza sumangate soha, te ata, be getse, ma be getse, raza sumangate soha, te ata, be getse, ma be getse, raza sumangate soha, te ata, be getse, ma be getse, raza sumangate soha, te ata, be getse, ma be getse, raza sumangate soha, te ata, be getse, ma be getse, raza sumangate soha, te ata, be getse, ma be getse, sumgate soha, te ata, be getse, ma be getse, raza sumgate soha, te ata, be getse, ma be getse, raza sumgate soha, te ata, be getse, ma be getse, raza sumgate soha, te ata, be getse, ma be getse, raza sumgate soha, te ata, be getse, ma be getse, raza sumgate soha, te ata, be getse, ma be getse, raza sumgate soha, te ata, be getse, ma be getse, raza sumgate soha, te ata, be getse, ma be getse, raza sumgate soha, te ata, be getse, ma be getse, raza sumgate soha, te ata, be getse, ma be getse, raza sumgate soha, te ata, be getse, maha be getse, raza sumgate soha, te ata, be getse, maha be getse, raza sumgate soha, te ata, be getse, maha be getse, raza sumgate soha, te ata, be getse, maha be getse, raza sumgate soha, te ata, be getse, maha be getse, raza sumgate soha, te ata, be getse, maha be getse, raza sumgate soha, te ata, be getse, maha be getse, raza sumgate soha. Thank you. I'm going to move us into the prayer requests. If you have any further prayer requests, please feel free to add them to this document. We're asking for prayers for courage and guidance and the ability to recognize that guidance so that I may be of greatest benefit to myself and all beings. Prayers so that we may all be healed. Prayers for continued healing and release of grief. Prayers for the collective healing of all. Prayers for my family and healing. Prayers of gratitude for this Sangha, for my communities and my beloveds. Prayers for my sister who is caring for a husband who is declining with Alzheimer's and being argumentative. Prayers for my heart and continued growth, wisdom, and clarity in relationships. Medicine Buddha, please help me and my husband relax and accept the limitations of healing in old age. We ask for prayers for those who are hurting and their pain is hurting others. We ask for prayers for my neighbor George, that he gets a new job after several months of unemployment, supporting his wife and 2 young children. We ask for prayers for Will, who works so hard but continues to encounter so many financial obstacles. We ask and offer prayers for Jimmy to find inner strength. We offer prayers for Mark to find a place of peace amidst great chaos. We offer prayers for those hurting we ask for prayers for my aunt whose birthday is today, and when I wished her happy birthday, she said, "I don't want any more." We ask for prayers to a friend who is struggling with their gender identity and needing clarity and safety. We ask for prayers for my spouse and I to find new ways of being together and being close. We ask for prayers that my mother have an easeful, joyful 79th birthday. We ask for prayers of gratitude for my little family, that they may always experience safety, dignity, and belonging. We ask for prayers to my mother. May she be liberated from suffering, and may beings impacted by her crossing over be liberated from suffering. May we show compassion to ego and trust her in her path. We ask for prayers for my dear Eleanor, who is starting chemo this week, that she have ease and not much pain, and that the cancer goes away. We ask for prayers for my grandmother. May she be liberated from her suffering. We ask for prayers for dear Toby, and he integrates the violence done to his face during surgery. We offer prayers for my father. May he be healed and be well after many health issues. We offer prayers for those dealing with loneliness, insecurity, and instability in relationships and life. May all feel safe, at ease, and deeply loved. We offer prayers for my spouse. May he find a job soon. We offer prayers for my leg to heal so I may be able to walk with comfort. We offer prayers for humans to be able to start learning so we can care for our planet. We offer prayers for my spouse that he find employment that suits him. We offer prayers for myself for healing health issues for all impacted by fires and climate change, including Maui, and for gender expansive fluid folks everywhere. We offer prayers for my mom, who has been in the hospital for 2 weeks with unstable blood pressure. We offer prayers for Melody. May she find the support she needs to hear the mountains and the waters. We offer prayers for my friend who's struggling with housing instability. May they find stability, safety, protection, and deep healing. May they be free. We offer prayers for TF, who is struggling with mental illness and addiction, and for myself, as I may need to ask him to leave my home. We offer prayers for myself. May I feel better and may my anxiety lessen. We offer prayers for my friends as they prepare to open their land and home to loved ones. We offer prayers for me to express fully what I have to offer to my employer in service. If I need to move, then help me in this transition for my health. We offer prayers for my health and my brother's health as well. We offer prayers for my children. May they feel safe and loved. We offer prayers for my children, Jamie Trott, and as we wait tonight for the results of a thyroid scan today, my daughter Hollister Trott for recovering from a virus while holding space for her two autistic children and her husband, Andy Binder. We offer prayers for myself, recovering from knee and ankle injuries and all the anxiety around my children's health. We offer prayers for my cat Bodhi, who is developing thyroid issues also. May we all be healed and held and loved. We offer prayers for my beloved. May they be protected, free, and always know how deeply loved they are. We offer prayers for Chala recovering from surgery and for all those beings understand and re-understanding their relationship to the earth. We offer prayers for Linda Rodriguez in the Bardo and for her grieving friends and husband, Bob, for Chava Bailey and Maha Seiler and Tom Krana, for Ricky Joyner and Kate Wester, Kathy in her sale and move from her house and caring for her husband, Rob, suffering from Alzheimer's. We offer prayers for Maria Luisa Baiz to drop her body and be released from her suffering as she travels back home to her Creator. We offer prayers for myself that I can feel grounded, safe, and connected as I move through conflict. We offer prayers for Mary, who moved into Bardo a week ago. May she and those who mourn her be at peace. We offer prayers for myself that I may have courage and self-compassion. We offer prayers for all those who are experiencing crisis. We offer prayers for all those experiencing extreme heat across the country. May they be safe and cared for. We offer prayers for Olivia and Condra, prayers for Barbara's children and loved ones during this anniversary of her birth and death. We offer prayers for Rupert on his transition and prayers for my dad. We offer prayers for dear Elle that they have safety, dignity, and belonging and much protection. We offer prayers for Melissa and her mom-in-law who is in hospital from hit and run. We offer prayers for all animals everywhere, especially my 2 pups and 2 fish. We offer prayers for Kingfisher, who passed away recently, and his loved ones as they grieve, and for friend N, who is struggling with housing and work issues. We offer prayers to all those who do not have their basic needs met, for those who are unhoused, who are not fed, and who do not feel loved. And may the universe provide the love and guidance to this community so that they feel held, so that they continue to do this heart-based work, so that all can be liberated. We'll return to the main mantra just for a few rounds. Om Tayata, Om Beketse, Ma Beketse, Razasumagate Soha. Teata, 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 Om Beketse, Begetse, Ma Begetse, Raza Sumagate Soha, Teata, Om Begetse, Maha 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 Begetse, Raza Sumagate Soha. And as we return to our seats, I'd like you to bring your attention back to your breath, focusing again on the slow inhale through your nostrils or mouth, tracing that air into your throat, into your lungs, and broadly into your chest. Slowly exhale. Allow what you do not need anymore to be released. Take a slow inhale through your nose or mouth, observing that oxygen fill your throat, your lungs, your whole body with nutrients, and let go of what you do not need anymore. We'll take one more inhale and exhale together. Inhaling slowly, allowing that air to fill you, nourish you, bring in something fresh. And letting go of this practice, returning to this room, feeling your sits bones or your body, whatever's touching the ground. And as you begin to bring yourself back into this space, you might slowly look around to orient yourself. Move your body a little bit. And if it so moves you, you might bring the corners of your mouth up into a smile. And as you're ready, we'll direct our attention to the chat where the Shanti Deva prayer has been posted by lovely Eric. And let's chant this 3 times together. May I be a protector to those without protection, a leader for those who journey, and a boat, a bridge, a passage for those desiring the further shore. May the pain of every living creature be completely cleared away. May I be the doctor and the medicine, and may I be the nurse for all the sick beings in the world until everyone is healed, just like space and the great elements such as earth. May I always support the life of all the boundless creatures, and until they pass away from pain, may I also be the source of life for all the realms of varied beings that reach unto the ends of space. May I be a protector to those without protection, a leader to those who journey, and a boat, a bridge, a passage for those desiring the further shore. May the pain of every living creature be completely cleared away. May I be the doctor and the medicine, and may I be the nurse for all sick beings in the world until everyone is healed, just like space and the great elements such as earth. May I always support the life of all the boundless creatures, and until they pass away from pain, may I also be the source of life for all the realms of varied beings that reach unto the ends of space. May I be a protector to those without protection, a leader to those who journey, and a boat, a bridge, a passage for those desiring the further shore. May the pain of every living creature be completely cleared away. May I be the doctor and the medicine, and may I be the nurse for all sick beings in the world until everyone is healed, just like space and the great elements such as earth. May I always support the life of all the boundless creatures, and until they pass away from pain, may I also be the source of life for all the realms of varied beings that reach unto the ends of space. I want to thank everyone for being here. I have one short concluding thought. About a year ago, I returned to the Lo'i that I mentioned, to the tarot field, because I wanted to Malama, to pay respect to the land and all the healing that occurred for me. And I, at this moment, want to Malama each of you. Thank you, my respect to each of you for being in this space, for having the courage to attend to our hearts and to keep making space, because we want everyone and everything to be free. Thank you.